Hi, my name is Yongyan Cao, and this is the phase 2 for the ADO.NET class project. For the first part of the project, we need to use a class module to hold ADO.NET code. I have a middle tier class right here. Inside this class, I have set up the connection string. Also, I have the command object and the data adapter object. I have two data adapters. One is for the student table. The other one is for the bridge table. The middle tier also holds methods that can be called from the form. For the second part of the project, we need to use the datasets object, and we must demonstrate navigation between rows and columns of the datasets. I have created a dataset called DS Music School from my SQL Server database. For the rest of the project, we'll take a look at the student's course bridge table and also the student table. Inside the middle tier, I have a method called return students courses in datasets. First, I instantiate a dataset from DS Music School. It is called that school. And then I use the adapt students data adapter to fill the datasets. Of course, I have set up the select command for the data adapter to select everything from the students table. And also I have set up the delete command for the data adapter to do a cascading deletes on students. So it calls the stop procedure deletes student, and when it actually deletes one student, it also deletes the course history for that specific student. And then I use the adapt students data adapter to fill the datasets. Similarly, I use another data adapter object called adapt bridge to fill the datasets. And then lastly, I return that student. Okay, and then when we go to the form, when the form loads, it will call the middle tier method return students courses in datasets, and it returns the datasets which has all the student information. And then I call the low list method to populate the list box right here. Inside the low list method, I also called another method called get change rows. What it does is I have a data table right here called that changes. When I call the get change rows method, it captures all the changes in that changes. So it gets all changes including modified, added, and deleted rows to this table right here. So when I run the application, at first it will populate the list box, and then whenever I select one student, the text boxes here will auto-populate. So how I did it is that I have a selected index change event right here. So whenever I select something from the list box, the text boxes will auto-populate from the dataset. So I go to the table inside the dataset at the selected index, and then I go to the column. For example, I go to the phone column, and then I populate the phone number to the text boxes. So this is the second part of the project. And then the last part of the project, we need to use disconnected architecture to capture data from the datasets in a strongly typed dataset. And we have to update the data source. So let me run the application again. So let me just get any of them, and then I can input a new student ID, and then I can put in a new name, and then we can just add a new student. So number 15 is added to the list, and then we can change any students right here. Maybe change the name from Matt to Matthew, and then we can update students. So now number 7 changed to modified, and also this list box is populated according to the changes. So we can see number 7 is modified and number 15 is just added to the list. And then we can select any students right here, and then we can just delete this student. So it will say deleted. And because all the changes we make is just to the data sets, so we now need to update the changes to the data source. So we click on here, it will say updates completed. And then if we exit the program right now and then restart, it should show the changes. So now, yeah, so the number 15 is the one that we just added in. And then number 7 is the one that we updated from Matt to Matthew. And then the one that we just deleted is no longer showing on this list. So let me go to the button, the button click events for the adding function. So what it does is it has a data row right here, and then I just use the whatever that's in the text boxes and then assign the value to the data row for the students, first name, etc. And then lastly, I load the list. Oh, and of course I have to add the row into the data sets, and then lastly I load the list box to show the most updated version of the data sets. And then for the updates, similarly, just the other way around, I just go to the data sets, and then I go to the students table, and then I go to the first name column, and then I just make the first name equals to the value in the text boxes. And lastly, I have to load the list box to make to show the most updated version of the database. And then for the delete, I just delete whatever that's selected. I use the selected index to get the rows, and then I delete the rows, and then I load the list. For the button to update data source, I called a method in the middle tier. So let's go to the middle tier right here. And then I use the adapt students data adapter to update the data sets. And of course, I need to have a data table to check what changes we need to make. So I just use the that changes data table, which captures all the changes that we make, and then we use that as the input for the method, and then we update the data source. When it's done, I have a message box showing the updates is completed. So yeah, that's all I have for the project. Thank you.